Hey guys, it's Marissa at KitchenTableStamper.com. So have you seen my 2-for-1 card? That's what we're going to do today. It was our coffee and a mystery card for this week. And I've got this fun little trick. It's something that you can do if you're just like, oh, I don't know where to start. Try a 2-for-1 card. So this is our project today, and it's using our Fitting Florets Collection. Have you seen this yet? Stampin' Up has a brand new collection. It's a pre-order, like an early release and exclusive limited time products. So we've got the framed florets stamp set and the framed florets dies. We're going to use those today along with the limited time framed festive stamp set. Now, this bundle is going to be available in the Occasions catalog. So this one's the early release, but all of the accessory items that are offered in this collection are while supplies last. So the framed and festive stamp set, I love this stamp set, and I've seen some of you ordering this stamp set just without anything else. It's a beautiful set. This one's a rubber stamp set with some amazing holiday greetings that really brings this all occasion bundle and designer series paper into the holidays. I love it. The other two limited time items, we've got this beautiful gold adhesive backed swirls. Now, there's two things I want to tell you about this. Number one, they're awesome. If you like the brushed brass butterflies, these are on par with that. They're a metal embellishment that is self-adhesive, brings a ton of great texture to your project. It's got this little swirl design. There's 75 pieces for $8.50. So not a bad value, especially when you consider their most similar item is the brushed brass butterflies, and those are 100 pieces for $10. So a good value. I will tell you that I don't know what's up with the packaging. The packaging makes it look like it's a sparse product, and it isn't. It's really, as far as Stampin' Up embellishments go, a good value and a really cool embellishment. I hope that the camera is picking up on that swirl. All right, so those are available while supplies last. And then the designer series paper. And I did this designer series paper this way on purpose because I wanted you to see, here's my project. This is number 1 in a series of 3. Here's project number 2 in the series. This will be my Facebook Live on Friday. And then here's project number 3 in the series. This will be my Facebook Live next Friday. But when you look at my projects, now look at the designer series paper, all the fun palettes that you could pull out of here. Not just what we've got here, but look at the Blushing Bride and the Polished Pink. You get 6 two-sided designs. So there's side A and then side B, which is more the palette that I went for in this project. Isn't that cool? So it's really versatile between the color palettes that you have to choose from and the 2 stamp sets. This one, framed florets, that we're using the floral images from, being a general stamp set. And then the add-on, while supplies last, framed and festive, you've got everything you could need for crafting just in this collection. It's just a really interesting collection. So that's the Fitting Florets, if you've seen that on the blog. Now, we're going to do this 2-for-1 card. And I call it the 2-for-1 card because we're going to start with a piece of designer series paper that's 3.5 by 4.25, or by 4, 3.5 by 4. And then we're going to cut it. And it's funny because I do a template for everything. This was the very first 2-for-1 card. I do a template for everything that just helps me to remember. So I'll include a picture of this on the project sheet. You're going to do your 3.5 by 4 designer series paper. All right, so we're going to measure down 1.25 inches. I'm just going to lay my designer series paper right against the ruler and measure down and mark. I'm using a Fusion or a friction pen that's erasable. So if there's any marks that show on the paper, we can just erase it. All right, now from the right side of the paper, we're going to measure down 2.25 inches. So just lay your ruler and then 2.25 inches, mark that on the edge of the paper. Now we're going to grab our paper trimmer and line those 2 marks up on the track. cutting the paper into 2 pieces. Now, if you have a pattern paper where you love both sides, I do for this one, or you have a directional paper, there's some variations that you could do for this. You could use one card with one side of the paper and one card with the other. So you'll get a little slight variation, but without recreating the wheel. If you have a directional paper, what you're going to have to remember is that this one will be upside down if you have a directional paper. So try not to choose a directional paper, or if you have a directional paper, choose one where you like both sides and you could do opposite angles. All right, so I'm going to stick with my 2-for-1 card here. Now I've got my 2 designer series papers. I've got a fun angle that's just a little bit, I don't know, adds a little bit of excitement. Don't always use the angles. We're going to do 2 cards from one piece of designer series paper. So I've got Evening Evergreen. These are hot dog style card bases. They are 4 1/4 by 11 and they're scored at 5 1/2. So let's go ahead and burnish those folds. And for each of these cards, I have 2 basic white pieces. I have my outside layer, which is 4 by 5 1/4, and my inside layer, which is 3 3/4 by 5. Now, don't worry, I've got the measurements on the project sheet along with a photo of the template. Just follow the link below where it says project details. Click here. That'll take you to the blog on the post. And then on the blog, underneath the embedded video, you'll see a clickable link that says click here to get your Fitting Florets 2-for-1 card project sheet. And then that'll open up a printable PDF. All right, we're going to add our designer series paper to both of these white panels right across the top. 1 for each card. So we're being careful to do that 4 by 5 1/4 panel. Then next will be our greetings. We're going to do the inside and the outside greetings all at the same time. 1 for each of our 2-for-1 cards. On the outside, I decided, may this season be filled with peace and joy. And for the inside, I'm doing a combination of the Merry Christmas greeting from Our Home to Yours. So we're going to stack those 2 greetings. I'm using Evening Evergreen ink, and to keep my little floral spray, and the way the paper is angled, it's visually heavier on the right side because of the designer series paper. So we're going to stamp our greeting to the left a little bit to balance that visually heavy right side designer series paper. May this season be filled with peace and joy. And Evening Evergreen 2 times. It's a 2-for-1 card. All right, I think 2-for-1 cards are going to be your friend going into this Christmas season and holiday season. If you haven't already done your cards, why not do a bunch of 2-for-1 cards? Okay, so for our inside greeting for these cards, we're going to do From Our Home to Yours first, just a little bit high of center. And then it's easier for me, maybe it will be for you too, to go back with my Merry Christmas and add that over the From. So I'll just line up the C in Christmas above the F and R in From and stamp, and you get a pretty well-centered and level greeting. All right, so we've got our insides, we've got our outsides. Let's let those dry for a second, and we're gonna stamp and color. All right, I've got my Memento Tuxedo black ink here, basic white cardstock, and my Stampin' Pierce mat. Let's stamp our floral in Memento. You might have noticed I've got a host code here. There is a host code make and take packet for this early release, for this special. If you're a kitchen table stamper follower, you probably already know about the make and take packets I offer on occasion. And this special release, usually it's with a $100 celebration item or a special release, outside a catalog release. I offer a make and take packet. This special release is no different. We're going to have a packet available when you order the collection, or you order any equivalent value. So if this is something that you maybe like the designer series paper and the Christmas stamp set, but you don't love the rest of the collection, that's okay. Grab those 2 items and then make up the rest of the items with whatever products you have on your wish list, as long as it's $97.50, the equivalent of the collection or more. I'm going to send you a make and take packet that includes a quarter package of the Fitting Florets designer series paper. It's going to include 15 pieces of the gold adhesive back swirls. It's going to include white seam binding ribbon and the kits that you need to make the projects that I showed you earlier in the video, the 2-for-1 card, the candy box, and the fun fold card. So there is a make and take offer. Check out the blog post. Just follow through to the link details in the, if you're on YouTube, the project details link will give you all the details about the make and take packet. All right, so we're doing our floral with Stampin' Blends. My Stampin' Blends are Balmy Blue, Night of Navy, Soft Succulent, and then we have the Light Evening Evergreen. We're going to go ahead and lay down a base of our Balmy Blue for our flower. Add some shadows in with the dark Balmy Blue and blend them together. And then for the flower centers, I'm going to do Night of Navy. I'll fill in with light. And then I'll shadow where the center kind of meets the bottom of the flower here. Just a little touch of dark. Bring it together. Same thing for the other flower center. Now my soft succulent. I'm going to do my leaves, the ones with these fun veined texture with a soft succulent. Then I'm going to do the leaves that are more like blades of grass, kind of these longer, skinnier ones. I'm going to do those with the evening evergreen. When I do the soft succulent, I'm going to do a base coat of the light, and I'll work 2 leaves at a time so that this will blend and soften just a little bit. And then I'm going to choose to make some of these little segments, some of these little vein segments stand out by putting the dark soft succulent. We'll do that for these other 2 leaves also. All right, now for our longer, skinnier leaves, we're going to do those all with evening evergreen. And it's, even the light evening evergreen is a very, very dark saturated color. So I'm just going to color in here. I'm not going to do any blending. Just doing little kind of dabbing flicks to fill in those small little areas. And these small areas, a very light touch is your friend. So just kind of dab and flick. Last, we've got the little berries that are on that sprig. I'm going to take the dark Balmy Blue and just add a little touch of blue over those berries. Ha, so cute. Now, by the magic of television, and this is a 2-for-1 card. I already have one done and cut out. Set that aside, and we're going to get our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. We're going to cut this out. We're also going to cut 2 evening evergreen leaves for each card and 1 gold sprig for each card. All right, we've got our leaves on some evening evergreen, our sprig on some gold foil, and our little floral image to cut out. These are all dies from the framed florets dies. Oh, I love that Stampin' Up! Has changed the policy, and the die set that coordinates with a stamp set is now called the same name as the stamps. Still have trouble remembering everything that there is to remember, but what a nice thing that Stampin' Up! Has done for us. All right, let's go ahead and put aside our beautiful sprigs and leaves. While we've got the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine out, look at how beautiful that cut. Oh my goodness, I love that sprig. Let's go ahead and emboss our strip. So let me show you the card. We're gonna set up for embossing, so that means we need 1. We're gonna trim the edge of the designer series paper where it meets our card front with some soft, succulent cardstock. So I've got a strip here that's a 1/2 inch wide, and it doesn't matter how long. You want to have at least maybe 5.5 or 6 inches. And then I've got this texture embossing folder. And we're going to, I love this embossing folder. It's got just a simple texture, almost reminds me of an orange peel texture. It's a 3D folder, so we're going to put 1 and 4 and then give this a crank. If you're doing this with a make and take packet, use whatever texture you have, just something subtle, and it will add a nice touch between the designer series paper and the card front. All right, let's get our card bases in here. We're gonna adhere the card fronts and the inside layers. All right, before we glue our outside, the card front, to our card base, we're gonna take some liquid glue. You could use Seal here if you like, and we're gonna go leaving a bit to hold on to on each side across the front of the card, following that angle, trimming that edge, and then burnish that down. Now we're gonna flip, and from the back side, we're going to make that angle and trim off the excess. There's our card front. Let's get that adhered to the outside of each of these. And then we'll trim up the inside with the second part of the greeting. I love that we're gonna line that evening evergreen and complete the sentiment and make it very easy at holiday time to send Christmas cards that you don't need to write a novel. You can address it at the top, sign it at the bottom, maybe add a little personal note. You could fold up your Christmas letter and put it inside, but you don't have to write a lot if you don't want to. All right, there's our 2 for 1 card so far, and our sample kind of over in the corner here. Let's work on this ribbon. Got this gorgeous, delicate, soft, succulent seam binding, right? We're gonna make it. So Stampin' Up! Has the crinkle white seam binding ribbon, and we're going to take our small grid paper and our ribbon. You can see that this ribbon can be all kinds of colors. We did an ombre ribbon with light Night of Navy and balmy blue right here. This was for my team craft along this week. We did this M-fold card together. That's an exclusive for kitchenettes. But isn't that pretty how the ribbon can go any color you want it to go? Got my light soft succulent marker, my ribbon, and what I like to do is pull off I don't know, a couple of feet off the spool, and then grab the brush point of your marker and then hold the end of the seam binding ribbon, lay the brush point across it, and then just pull the ribbon toward you as you push the marker a little bit away from you. And then if you have any white spots, you can flick and fill them in. And you're looking for about 12, 13, 14 inches to get across your card. So the mini grid paper gives you the perfect way to keep track of how much you've colored, because although it's really gorgeous, we're going to go straight across this time in 2 strokes. That's another way you can do this coloring. You don't want to have a whole bunch of soft succulent ribbon if you don't need it. You want to have a whole bunch of white ribbon that you can color any color or use white. So I love to do this on the mini grid paper. It gives us a surface protection and we can measure as we go. So about 12, 13 inches is what you need. We'll let that dry. While that dries, we're going to do our ribbon on our first sample. Now I like to use a dry adhesive. You can use your tear tape, you can use seal, you can use, I just found a whole bunch of fast fuse in my closet. You can use fast fuse, but I like to use a dry adhesive. I'm going to go across the back of my flowers with a little bit of tear tape. And then I'm going to swish the ribbon kind of back and forth behind the flowers. So to give an idea, I'm going to start with enough tail based on where I'm going to put it. There we go. And then I'm going to go back, make a little loop, put it down on the tear tape. And then we're going to go back the other way, make a little loop, and then stick the ribbon on the tear tape. So we've got a really pretty soft, kind of flowy. If you want to make any adjustments, you can do that by just lifting out of the adhesive. I want a little bit shorter loop so that they're more equal. And I think that looks good. So we'll cut away the excess and fix our angles. And now we've got a gorgeous floral embellishment with the ribbon. I'm going to add some dimensionals on the back of there. Got the edges of these minis to use up, so I'm going to go ahead and cut some chunks here. And I'll just kind of further secure the ribbon with a couple of bits of dimensional. Now keep the dimensionals kind of in the center, because the next thing we're going to do is be florists. And we're going to place our greeting. And I didn't burnish it down really hard just in case I want to adjust a little bit. I'm going to bring in our die cut sprig and leaves. We're going to deconstruct the sprig a little bit because it was too bulky for our design here on one side. So what I did was I came in and cut my little sprig so that we're going to go right here. Do you see? We've got a leaf and then a berry and then two leaves, and see that little berry's kind of stuck? We're going to go and we're just going to cut off right here. This is going to go this way. And then what we're going to do here is just clean this up a bit by cutting down, smooth that angle out. That is going to go this way. So we've got sprig for both sides, and it's going to be very easy now to spread that out and place that. I'm going to grab some mini glue dots. They're going to be your friend here for being a paper florist. I'm going to grab a little mini glue dot, put it on the stem there. And I'm just going to lift and tuck. We're going to do a lot of lift and tuck. And this one too. Okay, so I cut the stem so that it wouldn't be so hard to hide. And we're going to lift and tuck. Now we're going to do the same thing with our leaves. We're going to cut the stem. Just get rid of the excess. You can put that stem right on a glue dot. And then we're going to lift our flower, tuck the little green leaf in. And again, lift our leaves here, tuck the little green in. There it is. Now, our last, let's catch this second copy up to the first. And we're going to get right now we've got our gold swirls, our adhesive back gold swirls. We're going to add an extra little layer of texture and some shine here. like 3 of these. We're going to make kind of a triangle placement to finish up. All right, so we've got our embellishments done, our 2-for-1 card here. Isn't that lovely? We've got the soft, flowy texture of the ribbon, the warmth of the gold, 2 cards from 1 piece of designer series paper, and a great place to jump in and get crafting. All right, guys, if you have any questions about the project, you can email Marisa at kitchentablestamper.com. To shop 24/7, maybe pick up the Fitting Florets collection, buzz over to marisaalvarez.stampinup.net. When you place your order, use the host code. If your order, no matter what it contains, is $97.50 or more, or if you order the entire collection, or if you place a workshop order for yourself, if your order is $150 or more, you enjoy the host rewards. Don't use the host code. And any of those criteria, you'll receive automatically in the mail from me a class packet to make 2 of the 2-for-1 card. This adorable candy box, perfect for the Ghirardelli square 2-pack, and this fun fold card kit. Look out for these 2 projects on my Facebook Live this week and next, and on the blog kitchentablestamper.com. You can buzz over there for more details. All right, you guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video where we'll make this fantastic candy box. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.